You've done therapy. You've read the self-help books. You've journaled. You've meditated. You've accepted your patterns. Now what? If you've ever asked that question, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Integration Fiction Podcast. I'm AI Eleanor. We've spent 3 episodes talking about what integration fiction is and how it works. Today we're asking a practical question. Who is this for? Because integration fiction isn't for everyone. It serves a specific reader at a specific stage of their journey. Let's find out if that's you. I call the primary audience for integration fiction post-therapy readers. Not because they finished therapy, some are still in it, some never went. The term describes a stage, not a credential. Post-therapy readers have already done recognition and acceptance work. Through therapy, self-help, mindfulness, life experience, or just getting older, they've gained insight into their patterns. They understand why they react the way they do. They've made peace with parts of their history. They've stopped blaming and started understanding. And now they're asking what comes next. They don't need another story that ends with the character finally seeing their wound. They've seen their own wounds, many times, from multiple angles. What they want now are models for implementation. Stories that show what wisdom looks like when it's actually applied to Tuesday afternoon. These readers are typically between 30 and 55. They're navigating career, family, and often cultural identity all at once. They value literary sophistication. They don't want dumbed-down self-help dressed up as fiction. But they also want stories that serve their actual lives, not just move them, serve them. That's the post-therapy reader. There's also a cultural dimension to this audience. Integration fiction resonates strongly with first- and second-generation immigrants. People creating hybrid identities that honor heritage while serving contemporary needs. If you've ever felt caught between traditional expectations and modern realities, if you're raising children who will navigate multiple cultural worlds, if you're tired of stories that frame your situation as torn between two worlds, integration fiction offers something different. Not choosing between cultures, integrating them. These readers want authentic representation that goes beyond the usual narratives, not trauma tourism, not explaining their culture to outsiders, not the predictable tradition versus modernity conflict. They want stories where cultural elements are load-bearing, essential to the story's function, and where characters create new traditions that honor the old while serving the present. This also includes multicultural professionals balancing heritage with career demands, couples blending different cultural backgrounds, families seeking cultural integration without cultural erasure. The common thread: these readers are already doing integration in their daily lives. They want fiction that reflects and supports that work. Beyond age and culture, there's an emotional profile. Integration fiction readers are often exhausted by crisis fiction. They're tired of stories where transformation requires trauma, where characters only become interesting after something terrible happens, where depth equals suffering. They want stories where change doesn't require upheaval, where characters solve problems through wisdom rather than surviving catastrophe, where functional adults transform without blowing up their lives. These readers are hungry for ordinary moments that matter. They believe profound transformation can happen during everyday activities, not just during dramatic confrontations. They want validation that small, intentional acts can create meaningful change. They seek stories that find depth in stability rather than chaos, characters who improve good lives rather than escape bad ones. And here's a big one. These readers are agency-seeking in their personal lives. The world feels increasingly out of control. Politics, climate, economy, so much is beyond individual influence. But personal transformation, family dynamics, how you show up for the people you love, that's still within reach. Integration fiction readers want models for creating positive change within existing circumstances. They're ready to take responsibility for their own growth. They just want to see what that looks like in practice. So, why do these readers need a new category of fiction? What's been missing? Let me walk through what's currently available. Recognition stories dominated by sudden insight without follow-through. The character finally sees their situation clearly. Story ends with the epiphany. Reader thinks, that was beautiful and true. But there's no model for what comes next. Acceptance literature. Resignation masquerading as wisdom. Characters learn to endure limitation. They make peace with what can't be changed. Valuable, but it can feel like giving up. The reader thinks, I guess I just have to live with this. Appreciation fiction. Characters find meaning in suffering. They reframe their experience as gift or teacher. This can edge into spiritual bypassing, finding meaning without changing anything. The reader thinks, I should be grateful for my struggles. Maybe. But is that enough? Self-help narratives, prescriptive rather than literary. Clear action steps, but lacking psychological complexity. The prose is often flat, the characters are thin. It doesn't satisfy the reader who wants art, not just advice. Cultural literature, often explanation-heavy for outsider audiences, or trauma-focused rather than solution-oriented. Important work, but it doesn't always serve readers who are past the recognition stage with their own cultural complexity. See the gap? If recognition, acceptance, and appreciation are steps toward wisdom, what does wisdom in action actually look like? That's the question integration fiction answers. One more thing, this audience isn't just underserved, they're influential. Post-therapy readers, multicultural professionals, intentional parents, these people shape family traditions and values. They influence workplace culture. They bridge different communities. They model integration for the next generation. They're not just consumers of integration fiction. Many of them are already practitioners of it in their daily lives. They're cooking with their ingredients. They're creating hybrid identities. They're building new traditions from old foundations. They just want stories that reflect what they're already doing and show them they're not alone. So who needs integration fiction? Readers who've done their recognition work and want to see what comes next. Readers creating hybrid cultural identities. Readers exhausted by crisis fiction. Readers who believe small intentional acts can create meaningful change. If that sounds like you, welcome. You're in the right place. In the next episode, we'll look at the literary landscape more closely. What's been available until now, and why integration fiction fills a gap that's been waiting for over a century. Thanks for listening. See you in episode 5.